Okay, so now that we have Blender open, we can begin by importing our Avastar into the workspace. And we do that by pressing Shift and A together, and that opens up the Add menu. And from this Add menu, we're going to select the Avastar button. Click that and wait for the Avastar to load in world. By default, it loads in a female Avastar shape, which is actually the default female shape in Second Life, or the roof shape. If for some reason you wanted to work with a male shape, you would just click on the loops, then go over to this object tab or the cube icon, scroll down, and then click the mailbox. And as you see, the Avastar turns into a male. But for this tutorial, we're going to be working with females, so unclick the mailbox. Say you also wanted to work with your own custom shape. You can do that with the Avastar plugin. Let's go over to another layer real quick, and I'll show you how to do that. You go to the top and click File, Import, and Shape as Avastar, and then select your exported XML. I've already showed you how to do that in another tutorial, so just refer over to that or check in the description later. And as you see, my avatar has been imported. You have to make sure that you don't have any kind of morphs on when you're exporting, like shoes and hand things. Anything that will warp your avatar out of what your desired effect will be exported when you export your avatar as XML. As you can see here, I had on a pair of gloves that needed my hands to be small in order for them to fit. There's a giant pair of cap gloves, and I forgot to fix my hands back, and when I exported it, my hands are still tiny. So we don't want that. I mean, even if you wanted to correct it, you could in the Avastar panel, but we'll get to that on something else. So for now, let's just select all, pressing A twice, and deleting this Avastar. We'll bring her back in later, but for right now, she's not needed. Now let's navigate back to the first layer, and this is where we'll be working at. We have our avatar already in, and this is a default shape. I guess it'd be medium. And we're going to import the clothes. For this tutorial, I'll be rigging a skirt. I think I should have the skirt included, but if not, I'll put a link in where you can download the unrigged version and the rigged version for you to play with. So let's import our clothes. And we're going to do that by going to File, Import, and we're going to be importing a day file, a .daa. If you have something out in another format, or object, or .obj, you would select the wavefront. But the skirt I used is a day, so let's select the day. We'll navigate to my desktop, and we're going to use the Fuku bottom. I think 1 would be it. Yeah, this one doesn't have any breaks. So, as you see, our skirt is imported in, and it's just a plain static, no rigged clothes. So we're going to click on our skirt and hold down the Shift key again and press the first layer. Holding Shift while selecting on layers will let you activate multiple layers at once. So this is a good way to keep things separate but work on them at the same time. You see we have a problem here. The skirt is sideways while avatar is pointed straight. We'll have to rotate it and position it into the right place. So you do that by selecting on the skirt and pressing the R key. If you see, the skirt just rotates this way. Now we can constrain the axis or make it rotate in a certain direction by pressing R and then the letter of the direction we want it to go. So R, for example, RZ lets you rotate it on the R axis. RX lets you rotate on the X axis. RY Y lets you rotate it on the Y axis. Pressing R twice lets you do a free orbit rotation, so without any constraints. And R and if you want a certain degree you want to turn it, you could just type R, let's say 90, and it turns it 90 degrees. Whoops. But we don't want any of that, so we're going to put this back to where it was, and we're going to rotate and position it where we need it to be. So as you see, it still has the same axis arrows like in Second Life. So all you have to do is hold in your middle button and rotate the camera, and then position the skirt on the hips where it belongs, or as high or as low as you want it. Now, as you can see, the skirt kind of doesn't work. As you see, it's going through the avatar, and this can be fixed in world, like with alphas or something. But say you want to stretch it, you can go down here to the transformation manipulator and stretch it on both sides like so. And as you see, it's stretched out, and we are able to have a skirt without it going inside you. But you can also use the sculpty tool grab and turn up the radius of it and just pull it out to where you want it. So you can pull it out, pull it in, remove some butt, because sometimes you get templates with butt that goes on for days out there, so you can push and pull using that. And I'm sure there's some other methods, but those are the two that I find myself using the most. So I'm gonna actually stretch it back to, oops, I forgot I was in object mode. I'm actually gonna stretch it back, object, damn it, and it's too wide for what I want, and I'm going to just use the sculpty grab tool to stretch it back to where it was, how I wanted it. So it's like this and like that, and pull that there, and once more right there. And that's one way to fine tune or custom it to a body shape. Okay. Though I feel like I missed something right there. Oh well, that's good. It's good. That's just me being perfect. Okay. Now that we have it shaped to the body the way we want it, we're going to give it some bones, and that is the easiest thing you can do. So we're going to go to object mode, select the skirt first, hold down the shift key, and then select the loops. If you do it right, the skirt will be outlined in orange, or it's red, and the loops will be glowing orange. If it looks like this, then that means you did it wrong. So go skirt first, then loops. Now go over to the Avastar tab. Let's open up some more. Scroll down and click assign avatar. Assign armature. Just have these clear weights interpolate and shape sliders box selected, and then click assign armature. And what that means is assign a skeleton to the mesh. And that's it, really. Well, for the most part, you now have a rigged mesh skirt. As you see, when you move the leg, it moves. So technically it's rigged, but look at the way it is when you move the leg. See how it morphs so ugly like this? We don't want that. You don't want to upload something like that. So what's causing it to move like that? And the answer is it's the weights. And you're probably wondering, what is the weights? So I'll tell you about that now. So we go here to object mode and switch it to weight paint mode. And we're actually going to go back to object mode and switch back to the transformation manipulate, or I have like the arrows. Go to weight paint mode. Alright. We're here in weight paint mode. And as you can see, as we select a leg, actually there's nothing here. Why isn't that there? So you have to go to the Avastar tab and press skin. And this will show you the second life weights attached to the mesh that we're working with, on the mesh that's selected. And when you select the joint, and so you just select the right hip bone, this is actually the leg, you'll see a bunch of colors: the reds, the greens, the blues, and yellows. What do those colors mean? These colors are actually what we call bone heat. And bone heat is the control, like a visualization of the control the bone has over the mesh. So the more heat a bone has, the more control the bone has over that piece of mesh, if that makes sense. Just think of it as infrared. The hotter something is, the more control it has over it, and the colder it is, the less control that bone has over that section of the mesh. So let's go up to the top to the tools, and you'll see the brushes that we'll be using, and the weight. The weight is the temperature. The radius is how big the circle is. So bigger it is, the bigger the circle. Smaller it is, smaller the circle. And the strength is, the strength. So you want full power or half or none at all. What we're going to do is show you an example of it. So let's just say this is the leg, and I'm going to turn the heat all the way up to the max on 1, totally red, and I make the whole skirt red to the leg. When I move it, the skirt is going to just move with that leg, and that's definitely something you don't want. And if you make it totally cold, the skirt doesn't move at all. Doesn't move because there's no control there. It's nothing there. Obviously there's something there, but you see you get what I mean. So what we're going to do what weight painting really is trying to get the perfect temperature of the mesh, have each bone have the perfect temperature on the mesh so that it moves properly. And that's takes a lot of time and effort and artistic eye and whatever it is to make it look the way you want to, and we don't have time for that. So what we're going to do is show you a shortcut called the weight transfer feature that's here in Blender, and that is taking the already rigged mesh that's been weighted and beautiful and copy the weights from that onto your static mesh. So let's proceed to do that now. We're going to go over into a new layer, and we're going to go to that folder that I provided in the download kit, the female templates. So we're going to go to File, Import Day, and find the female templates, and download the regular skirt relaxed. Alright, so it looks like it's not here, but it actually is. It's just super small. So we're going to have to scale it up by pressing the S key. And as you see, the skirt is here. If it comes upside down, just rotate your mouse in another direction until it's right side up. Now that we have the skirt in, we are going to hold down Shift and select the first layer with just the Avastar. Now it's too small, so we have to press Shift again and scale it until it fits on the hips of the avatar. That's about where we want it to be positioned, about here. Alright, now that we have our template done, imported and sized onto the mannequin properly, we're going to hold down shift again and select our skirt, whichever layer that was. There it is, that one. Alright, so here's where the fun part begins. We're going to press A and unselect everything. Then we're going to click on the skirt. Always select the template first, or the source first, never the target first, source first. So we're going to click on the skirt, then hold down the shift key and click on the target skirt, and we're going to be snapped back into weight paint mode since that was the last thing we had selected. If not, just go over and select weight paint. Now with the weight paint mode open, we're going to scroll down and select the transfer weight button, and there you have it. The skirt has been fixed. So when you click on the leg again and press R to move it, you can see the skirt bends and moves just like our template skirt, and looks more like a skirt than a jumbled up mess it was a few seconds ago. So we now have a rigged mesh skirt. You can do this method with t-shirts, shirts, or anything else, anything that fits from the template folder I gave you, or any other full perm mesh that you buy that has a rigged day. You can copy the weights from that too, but we're just going to be using the skirt as an example today. So now that we have a rigged skirt, we can click those two back and just have the skirt and this. We don't need the template anymore. We're going to go into object, select the skirt, go over to the Avastar tab and export it by pushing this button right here. You just need these: collect, apply, rotation and scale, weld edge normals, bone bug fix, export. And then we're going to save it to my desktop and name it uniform skirt tutorial, and hit export. Wait for it to load. Okay, so now we're going to open up Second Life and import it. It's my avatar and her undergarments. Lovely crotch shot there. And we're going to upload the skirt. So you go to File, Upload Mesh, Uniform Skirt Tutorial, and you see it came up. We're going to take the lowest one here and turn that to 0. And actually, you know what? I'm going to show you why I did that. So if we were to upload the skirt, let's just go back to as it was without changing this. Just clicking the add skin weight and click generate weights and generate the fee. Playing with all the normal settings, you'll see that it costs $50 to upload and it's 38 prims. Well, landing pad. I could get back in the swing of seeing that. That's a lot. I mean, you could never put it on display unless you ever got a full sim. Even then, it's impractical. So let's lower this a bit. Since everybody usually has that stuff on high or medium, you don't need low or lowest. Like you don't. So we're going to turn the poly down a bit, like to 0 on both low and lowest. It's best to leave medium and high alone, because if you mess with medium, sometimes people will just see a triangle on you, so you want to leave that alone. Clothes do not need physics, so you don't need to mess with physics at all. And when you go to the upload options, you're going to just push include skin weight. Don't need the joint positions unless it's a custom avatar, like something for micro or giant or something like that. So you don't need your joint locations, and you would click the include texture if you had the texture, but I don't. So we're just going to go back to the level of detail and click calculate weights and fees. And as you see, it drastically went down in price. So it went from 50 to 16, and it's for 30 some odd prims down to 4. And we're going to hit upload and wait for it. Now just gotta put the skirt on. And there you have it. Now, as you see, it's a little choppy around here, but that's because my avatar is a little bit bigger in the front than the default avatar, so that could be covered up with an alpha, or I could just import my shape and stretch it forward so that it fits if I didn't want to use an alpha. So as you see, when we walk, the skirt's going pretty well, and it's trying to make this a prettier color so it matches my outfit. There you go. And there you have it. It's a rigged mesh skirt, and it even works while dancing, so looking good. So that's pretty much it when it comes to uploading mesh and rigging mesh. It's pretty simple when you use the weight transfer technique rather than trying to fight. Of course, it's not always going to be perfect, and you'll have to use some weight painting, but if you remember the hot and cold methods I told you, I guess it's a theory, not really a method, then you really shouldn't have any problems. So that's it for this tutorial. This class. I hope you learned, and I hope it helped you. That's it. Bye.